forever. It's happening. Hi, friends. Welcome again. Welcome to July's virtual bariatric meetup hosted by BariNation. We are talking about summer swaps today. So we're going to focus on meals and mindset. You joined us a little bit early. We've had some fun in the chat, but we are ready to dive in, my friends. So, of course, we introduced Jason and myself. Natalie is the other part of our trio. We are BariNation. Together, we founded BariNation. Jason and I started the podcast. We wanted to start a community. We've done all of that with of course, Natalie's help, because we are a threesome. We go together like peanut butter, jelly, and bread. How about that? I'm trying to think, what has three things? That does. We are thrilled to be welcoming two amazing guests to the virtual bariatric meetup today, Jeannie Boyer and Stephanie Mitchell. Jeannie, will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hold on. I'm messaging Rob. Okay. Well, everybody, but that's the answer to Rob's question. So I'm Jeannie. I'm a bariatric dietitian and have been since 2004 or 5. I love it. Like, I think this is the best job as a dietitian to do. And in my Instagram world, I really work with the regain. So I find that that's something that's not provided, or really like a service that is available easily at surgery centers. So that's what I'm here for.
And we are so thankful that you are here for that and all the things. If you guys don't follow Jeannie on Instagram, I highly recommend you do. Her reels are hilarious and informative.
Thank you.
Yeah, but also hilarious. So wonderful person to reach out to if you are struggling with regain. Jeannie, you take one-on-one clients and group coaching too for nutrition, don't you?
Yep, correct.
Yep. I've had the honor of working with Jeannie one-on-one a few times. She's also an expert in BariNation, so she leads nutritional chats and classes and all that kind of stuff. So if you want more of Jeannie in your life, there's lots of ways that you can make that happen. So Jeannie, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, love it.
Boom. Miss Steph, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi. So I'm Stephanie Mitchell, and I am both an expert in BariNation. I'm a professional chef of about 25 years now, and I am a bariatric patient. I had VSG September of 2020, so I'm coming up on 2 years, and I'm down over 100 pounds. I want to say like 115. I was 130 at my lowest. I'm comfortably 115 down right now. Proud of that, very proud of that. And I'm a professional chef. So this is my sweet spot here. I love to cook, love to share it. And trainer is my current profession now. I'm a chef, but I'm also a trainer. So it was a natural fit for me to come and be a part of BariNation, so I could take my training skills and my teaching skills and my chef skills and put them together in one. So
right. It's been so rad because Jeannie, when Steph's teaching a class, she's got like multiple perspectives or angles. So you can like see what she's cooking, then you can see how she's chopping. You kind of see all of the things at once. It's rad. It's awesome. So you do amazing, Steph.
Thank you.
Totally. All right, my friends, before we dive in, we always love to make sure that we cover just our mission and our ground rules. It's important to us that we're kind of always on the same page. So we started the VBM for a very specific reason. We wanted a place to support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. We want to destigmatize bariatric surgery. We want to grow a community of and for bariatric patients and their supporters. And we wanted a safe place to share ideas and experiences that add value to our lives before and after surgery. That's the whole reason that we started doing these things, and we continue to do what we do. Just some ground rules for everybody. We always want to assume best intent. Share what you are comfortable with sharing publicly. We're not here to sell you anything. We're here to just be together as a community. If we see any nudity or violence or isms in the screen or in the chat, we will just remove you. If you guys know me well, you know I swear more than I say non-swear words. So I have to check myself even a little bit in these venues, but right, some foul language we will accept. But if it's like over the top, we will ask you to leave. And of course, this is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making any changes to your diet, to what you do, to your life, right? To your body, mind, and soul. Consult your doctor. This is simply education. I think I did that in record time. Was somebody timing me? Please tell me somebody was timing me.
Yeah, you came in pretty under the wire there for the normal spiel.
Well, you know, after doing it 20 times, we're getting the hang of it. All right, my friends, let's do this. We are going to dive into summer swaps, and specifically, we're going to start with ingredient and recipe swaps. So I'm going to hand this over to Steph and Jeannie.
All right, so this is my part here. Obviously, that is not me, but I used to wear the funny hat back in the day. When we're talking about recipe swaps, so I'm going to backtrack this quickly. I don't want to take too much time, but I want to give you some back history on me. So my husband is vegetarian, and when I met him 120 pounds ago, I was like, a veg of what? Like, how am I supposed to do this? And so, years later and a marriage later, I took that as a challenge, and I was like, okay, touche, let's make my favorite dishes but vegetarian. So I just got really friendly with experimenting. So you'll notice here I say don't be afraid to experiment with recipes, because I didn't know what half of this stuff was, the analog meats and things like that, but I'll try anything once. I may not try it again, but I'll try it once. And so beef stroganoff, that was one of my favorites. My mom made it as a kid. How do I get my husband to eat beef stroganoff? I buy a vegetarian beef, and I don't like mushrooms. So otherwise I could just do all mushroom, right? But I don't like mushrooms. So it's kind of like finding that compromise. Like I really, really think about it. And just when I grocery shop, I will be in there. I will be taking my time. I'm reading labels. I'm looking at things. I never saw this before. What can I do with that? So that's why I say, think like a chef, right? And just know the flavor profiles you're going for. So if I really want that beef stroganoff, how can I make it vegetarian? And now I take it up a notch, not just vegetarian, but how can I make it fit my needs? I need to get my protein. I want to try to keep my fat a little bit reduced, and obviously carbs if I was serving it over the butter noodles. So I'm watching everything, right? So I have to think about that. And that's where I would think about like light sour cream. I'll still use the Gardein beef chunks. I'll put mushrooms in it. And if I cut them up enough, I don't notice they're there. So I'll eat them. So I'm getting some vegetables. So things like that. I take it and I really think each ingredient through. And when in doubt, Google it. So I'm not an advocate for any particular diet. Obviously, I've tried them all. My doctor had told me years ago, I was the most successful when I did Weight Watchers. I don't follow Weight Watchers, but Weight Watchers has some pretty rad recipes. And so when in doubt, I'll just Google, like, I'm going to stick with beef stroganoff. Let's make our life easy. Weight Watchers beef stroganoff. I promise you something's going to pop up. And those people have come up with a recipe, and I don't know what the point system is. It's 2 points, it's 3 points. I don't care how many points it is. Let me see the ingredients they're using. So then I'll look at their ingredients, and then I start playing it to be what I need it to be. So that's kind of that's how I will, my first approach. If I can't come up with it on my own, I'll see what other people are doing. So that's why I say, reach out to the community for advice, Google it. And when I say Google it, I promise you, if you Google anything you're looking for, Weight Watchers recipe, something will come up. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, but I think it'll trigger you to try a different ingredient somewhere. I just made my meal prep last weekend. I did Kodiak blueberry lemon muffins. And I was like, God, there's like 1/3 of a cup of oil in these. Like, I don't need that fat. I put no sugar added applesauce in it. And let me tell you how good they are. And I didn't have to add any oil to it. So just finding what those swaps are. If you say, like, what's a swap for, Google it. What's a swap for oil in a muffin recipe? And it'll come up with a whole list for you. And then look at that list and see what aligns with your goals and your dietary needs. So Google is your best friend, and I promise you, always try Weight Watcher recipe for ... and you'll find something. And then pick those ingredients that you're looking for, and then experiment with it.
I would have never in a million years thought about that, but that's so true, right? Because they, like, Weight Watchers or Weight Watcher people that follow that, they are definitely crafting recipes that are kind of more aligned to our eating style, or what we tend to do after bariatric surgery. And somebody else has probably figured it out. So we don't rack our brains so hard to come up with that.
Right.
Well, and baking with applesauce is the jam, because that keeps the moisture in all kinds of things. Oh man, it's a game changer for sure when you're baking.
right?
Yeah.
So you guys will notice, I'd love everybody, head to the chat. Stephanie has put together a really extensive and awesome PDF about swaps. So she's kind of broken it down by recipes. She's broken it down by like what are we looking for? It's supposed to be called Flip the Dish. And of course, you guys know me, I misspelled flip because I was flip the dish. It's supposed to be flip. Open that up, you guys. And take a look at what is there. Can everybody see it? Yeah.
I just opened it. It's great. It's
And so while you're going through and looking at that or pulling things up, when I took that approach, because we're talking summer, we got the summer colors in this deck, we got everything summer, we got the popsicle picture, right? And I was like thinking about barbecues and like, what is summer to me? I grew up in New Jersey, down the shore, right? Rob, where's Rob at? You know what I'm talking about. I'm in Jersey right now, Rob. I'm probably 15 minutes from you. But yeah, so I thought about my summers, and it was going to the beach. I was 15 minutes from Ocean City, New Jersey. So we were at the beach, and the ice cream man comes by, and we're on the boardwalk. My first job was in a saltwater taffy store. So summer has so many memories for me, and it's barbecues, and it's Father's Day, and I just started thinking about all the foods like I love to eat, and it's all the salads, potato salad, pasta salad, coleslaw, and I took each of those kind of favorites that I could think of, and I thought, if I was swapping them, what would I swap? I want to swap it so everyone at this barbecue, or everyone that's in my backyard swimming in my pool, everyone can eat it. I don't ever want to go somewhere, take a dish, or have people over and then be like, what the hell is she eating? I want it to be friendly to everyone, but I don't want to sit there with my own plate. Granted, you're in puree, you're in liquid. What are you going to do? I was at a funeral wake with my protein shake. I was in liquid. I had no choice. However, you do what you have to do. But once you're beyond that, you want to fit in. We want so desperately to fit in. I'm now at 2 years post-op not taking some fake cardboard looking dish with me. I'm going to find something that everybody loves, and I'm going to make it differently. We took a road trip last night. My husband, while he's vegetarian, I can get him to eat tuna salad every once in a while. So I made tuna salad, and I saw the regular mayo and I saw the light mayo, and I was like, well, he likes regular mayo. And I was like, screw that. I want to eat it too. And I don't want those extra calories, because when you look at it, the calories, and I know you've talked about it a lot, April, the calories in regular mayo are astronomical. And there's occasionally, do you really need regular mayo? Most of the time you don't. You just don't. So it's olive oil mayo, it's light mayo, it's light olive oil mayo. Find that swap. And so I made it with the light mayonnaise, and he didn't say anything. He didn't know. Okay. So why didn't he notice? Because I used spice. You have to use flavor. And spices, if you've ever seen any of my classes, Mrs. Dash, or now Dash, they got rid of Mrs., they need to just sign me up, because if you see my spices, it's all of the flavors. I'm just shaking them in there. There's something for everything. And so I want it to taste good, but I try not to add that extra sodium, because I know me, my ankles, everything else, it's summertime. I'm going to swell up. I don't need that. So add the flavor. Don't add all the extra sodium. Yes, I salt it, but I don't get crazy with it. Add flavor and use those swaps. So I put my relish in. I put a couple of different Mrs. Dash flavors in. One of my favorites is Trader Joe's 21 Seasoning Salute. That sucker has all the flavor, and it is so good. And it has, if you read the ingredients, I'm huge. That's the next slide if you want to skip to it. I think it's the next slide, right? No, there it is. Read your labels. This is just one example, but when I'm looking at the 21 Seasoning Salute, it has lemon peel or lemon rind, it says. So when you use it, and I might be getting a little too chefy for you, you pick up, you're like, I really do taste a little bit of, like, it adds a brightness to it. So when I added that to my tuna because I wanted that kind of brightness. I did a little of Mrs. Dash lemon pepper and some of that 21 Seasoning Salute, because it just adds that little extra something that maybe you're missing from your regular mayo. And so just read your labels. So when you're reading your labels, especially in spices, because watch the sodium and look for all those fun little things they're adding. This one here was just a quick snippet. It's in the document as well. Sweet Baby Ray's. We all know Sweet Baby Ray's. It's a great barbecue sauce. They have a ton of different flavors. They also came out with a no sugar added. You can see there, it is 70 calories for 2 tablespoons of the regular. That's a lot when we don't eat that many calories in just barbecue sauce. You go to the no sugar added, I think equally as delicious, 15 calories for 2 tablespoons. Now I'm not eating 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce, but I might have barbecue chicken and maybe I'm getting a tablespoon, maybe a little less on it, but guess what? That's 7.5 calories if I had a tablespoon worth of it versus 35. And it adds up end of the day. So read your labels and find those swaps like that.
And I would say, don't be afraid to try the swap. Like, just because you've always had Sweet Baby Ray's, just because you've always had regular Duke's mayonnaise, it doesn't mean that the other is not good. Kind of like your husband, like he didn't know. I do that to my husband all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm a huge mayonnaise snob, and I promise you I am. And I would normally think I would be able to tell, but I've started using light or avocado mayonnaise, and it's, yeah, you can't tell. I can't tell.
I did too. I made that swap after I had the realization with the regular mayo. I was like, oh my God, I'm blowing out of my macros because I just love mayo so much. And I'm not willing to give up mayo, but I had to find an alternative. And, you know, I've been really picky about my labels. I've been trying to avoid artificial sweeteners and some other things. So that takes a little bit more time and effort. But at the same time, there is a product out there that will fit your needs. You just have to dig a little bit to find it. But once you do, and you bake with it and you cook with it and you realize, oh my God, like this tastes exactly like how I wanted to, and it's more aligned, right, to my macros.
And I feel like I have used my body for long enough. I owe it to myself to take the time to read the label, just read it and see what's in it. I mean, I think I owe it to myself at this point.
Yeah. You know, and what I
You
was,
only have to do it once. Like, now you know. This
Now
is
I know. That's it.
yep.
Mhm.
And I'm so much a like, well, to the wall type of person. I'm like, I'm gonna do all the things. I'm swapping out everything in my pantry, everything in my fridge. That was so overwhelming for me. If you know that you want to move the needle right in a different direction than where you're going, pick one thing and find your swap. Find the one that's better aligned. Don't worry about replacing everything in your fridge or everything in your pantry at one time. Start with one thing and an experiment. And before you know it, you will have swapped out 5, 10, 15, 20 things that are more aligned. And you won't miss it. In fact, you'll feel better about cooking with those ingredients because you know that they're right, more aligned. And that biggest thing that I took away from Weight Watchers, one of the biggest things is they always talked about BLTs. And I was like, oh, I love a good BLT sandwich. No. BLT stands for bites, licks, and tastes. Right? Every bite, every lick, every taste is adding to our calorie bank that day. And it really goes quickly. It goes much quicker than what, you know, we think. So just being cognizant of that along with these swaps really, really helps.
And I'll share something with you as a chef. There's a lot of bites, licks, and tastes. And when I worked for, I used to work for Bonefish Grill. I was their national culinary director, and I would do what we called line check. And we would go down the line every day before we opened, and you would taste everything down to frying an egg roll and tasting it to make sure, number one, it looked correct. Number two, it tasted correct. I tasted all of the sauces, all of the everything. And when I hear that, I think back about all of that, and I'm like, oh my God. And then mayonnaise with the sauces made with, I know what's in all of them. And I'm like, no wonder I was 130 pounds heavier back then. I literally tasted everything every day.
Right. So I'd love to pause here, you guys. Are there swaps or are there things that you are really looking for that Steph can maybe help you identify, that Steph and Jeannie can help? You can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself.
While you're thinking, I have to share this. I actually got this in working with eBeth. We found a recipe for tuna salad and I tried it last week on vacation. It is just tuna, basil pesto, and sun-dried tomatoes. And you just
Sounds good.
mix it up. It's so good.
Yeah, that's like Mediterranean tuna salad. It's not with mayo at all.
There's no mayonnaise. It is
an
just, I
olive
just
oil
put,
seasoning. Yeah, that makes sense.
it's so good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Jeannie, you often talk about the power of that addition mindset, right? So it's not that we're taking something away. It's, you know, what can we add? How does that mindset really play into kind of what we're talking about here today?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think when you think about, like, we're talking summer swaps, but in preparing for this, I thought about holidays, and we always make that list of like, okay, how am I going to avoid this thing? How am I not going to eat too much of that? But if you switch your thinking to like, oh, what's something fun I can have? It changes your whole outlook on the experience, on the meal, on the event. So something I like, I'm trying to think of what I like for summer, because I'm not a fan of potato salad. But like let's say it's like ice cream or something like that. Like, instead of going to the event thinking like, how am I going to avoid this ice cream? Is there another thing that you can have and look forward to that's there? Like, can it be smaller? Could it be a popsicle? Could it be a sorbet? Like, yes, both of those are sugar, but you're going to have less total calories in a sorbet than a ice cream, and you can still be at the event. You can still do what everyone else is doing. That's just off the top of my head, but I have some later.
Similar
Yeah.
to that, like Rita's water ice. I love Rita's water ice.
Or like the Italian ice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, if you look at the full menu, most companies are coming around to making sure there's something for everybody. Not all of them, but some of them do.
And frozen yogurts, like they're at every ice cream place, even if it's not like the soft serve kind, there is a scoopable frozen yogurt.
Right.
I'm just seeing, Gretchen asked a great question in the chat. They love having fires out back, right, with hot dogs and s'mores. Are there some good swaps that you're thinking off the top of your brain for those two items? You know, hot dogs, I think, could be a little bit easier than a s'more, but I might actually have a s'more idea, actually. Yeah, go for it.
Here's my first thoughts. Or Stephanie, were you going to talk?
No, go ahead. Good. I have an idea. I have thoughts on it. I just eat dark s'more, but I have other thoughts too.
I think the s'mores, I think part of it is the fun of it. Like, and I'm picky. So if you just go put a marshmallow and you break off the Hershey bar and you give me this s'more, like, it's not good. So here's my method. And this is why I'm recommending it, because by the time it's done, everyone else is going to be done. You're only going to eat one. Put the graham cracker next to the fire wherever you can and put the chocolate on it and let it stay there, because you got to have melty chocolate. Like, cold Hershey's is not good. And then roast your marshmallow. So by the time that chocolate is melted and you put the marshmallow on and you have your one square s'more, it's awesome. And everyone else is done because it takes so long for that chocolate to melt.
Yeah, and I noticed a couple people said built puff. That was my other thought too. That's a good way to get your protein and the chocolate and the marshmallow. And then the hot dog. So I had done in the kids cooking class, and I think I may have suggested it here too. It was the pigs in a blanket. And so you can get, and I get it, it's not a hot dog, but it's kind of a hot dog. You could even do it with a full size hot dog. So I suggest getting like a turkey hot dog, or just looking for Nathan's makes a 97% fat-free hot dog. That's a good option, and it's kind of got that snap to it that I love about a hot dog, and it's all beef. I think it's all beef. I believe it is, because it's Nathan's. But anyhow, Crescent Rolls you can get, and then they're hard to find, I will say that, but you can get reduced fat Crescent Rolls. I got mine in Publix. And I take the Crescent Rolls, and it's in one of the kids snack cooking. If you go back and look at the recipes in BariNation there, but we cut it in very thin strips and stretched it and wrapped it mummy style. So you're getting less breading, you're getting the reduced fat, but you're getting, for me, even eating a sandwich, I had a breakfast sandwich this morning. I take 2 bites, I ditch the bread, I eat the rest, because the bread fills me up and I can't do it. So the same thing with a hot dog. I love hot dogs. I don't mind eating a hot dog, but I can't have all of that bread. So I might eat half of the bun and eat it like open-faced hot dog. Or if you're not like camping or at a barbecue or something like that and you're making it at home, take that reduced fat Crescent Roll and wrap it mummy style, where you're just getting a little bit of it, it's reduced fat, and you're still getting the flavor.
And I think check your labels on the hot dogs too. I mean, not just necessarily for total calories, but for the protein, because some are better than others. Some don't have that much of an impressive amount of protein. And would something like a chicken sausage serve you better, but you still get to eat it over the fire with all the fixings, but you're going to get more protein.
Yeah, that was kind of, my brain always goes to, and Natalie said this on a podcast, I don't know how many episodes ago, but it's really stuck with me, right? Sometimes there's just some food items that we really want to enjoy for whatever reason, right? Well, if you're looking at your day or you're looking at your week and you know that we are going to have a fire tonight as a family, we're going to do XYZ, we want to eat these foods. Sometimes when we're really wanting a s'more, let's say, for whatever reason, no swap is going to scratch that itch, right? It's just not. And it's okay to enjoy that food item, as long as you're cognizant of kind of what the rest of your day looks like. So if you know that, nope, I am so excited to enjoy a s'more as I have always made it, it's going to be wonderful. So I'm going to plan for that, right? My morning is going to be very on point, low to no sugar, right? However you organize your day, there's a way that you can build in that enjoyment and not feel guilty about enjoying it. So sometimes, right, just knowing in the back of your head, right, we always have three options. We can pass on that item, we can enjoy that item, or we can look for an alternative. And if swapping something out is just not going to do it for you, then enjoy it, but build it into your day. And if you know that, like, oh, I could probably go without it, then go without it. Or if you can find an alternative, go for it. Don't be afraid to ask yourself that question and then move forward with your answer.
I was just typing, I call it like fast forward thinking. Like if there is something like the s'more or the ice cream or the potato salad, and you're just like, just fast forward, like, okay, let's pretend I ate it. How am I going to feel in 20, 30 minutes? Are you going to feel like, I'm so glad I had that, like satisfied, done, check, it was great? Or are you going to feel guilty, or are you going to be left wanting more? So if it's a swap and it wasn't really what you wanted, you might be left wanting more or something else. But if it's like, hey, I go camping twice a year and I have a s'more each time, make it good, make sure the chocolate's melted.
But that's, like Jeannie was saying, that's where being honest with yourself really comes into play, because we romanticize a lot about how foods make us feel, or we think about the glorious time where we had X, Y, or Z, whatever food may be. And then every time you go back to it, it's never as good as you thought it was going to be, or the best it was last time, or whatever that is. So you go chasing after something that, you're not ever going to find. And that's usually where people wind up, in more of a slide than a slip, because they keep chasing after what it was, keep chasing the dragon, so to speak, for what that taste was, and they're not going to find it there. So being honest with yourself and realizing that, yeah, I can have it, it's just not going to be as fantastic as I thought it was. Or maybe it will be, but you have to be honest with yourself and saying, I can do this today, I can do this right now, but I cannot do it for the rest of the week or the weekend, or it can't be like, it's got to be, sadly enough, we have to be kind of buttoned up in a space where we can just do it and move on from it and continue back on plan, because that's how we live now. Like that's something that we've never done before, but it's what we have to do now. So that's kind of another way you could reframe and look at it as you're moving forward too.
Yep, 1,000%. Lindsay had a really great question, and I would love to address this, and then let's switch gears to get to the mindset, because as always, we're running out of time. I hate that this goes so fast. Lindsay, if you're still here, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, or do you want me just to read it from the chat? I can't see Lindsay.
So she may have to read it because I'm scrolling. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I have it here because I was just reading it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. So she says, right, can you talk about how you choose on a menu what you can have when you're out, when you're out to eat with family? So not, right, while not knowing kind of how the food is being prepared. So I think really your question is like, how do I just know what's the most bariatric friendly choice on a menu?
Can I answer this? And I want to answer this because I'm coming from the person who works in the restaurant as well as the person who orders from the menu. And so make the swap there. Just ask them. Sometimes you get the occasional, like, I'm not sure if they can do that, but trust me, you order a fish, just say, can I have it not, no oil? Something like, think about things like that. Often you go to a place and you get a burger. Let's just say you really want a burger, but how can I get like the best burger? Like, I want a burger, but I want it to be the best possible for me because I don't know all the ingredients. You don't want the bun buttered. A lot of places will butter the bun before they toast it. What is that really making that much of a difference in your burger? No. Maybe you can get a turkey burger instead of a beef burger, or I always say, try to choose the white meat or the fish option. And that's going to, be your, I guess, the best, healthiest way to go. And anything that you can get grilled versus like sauteed or fried, stay away from fried, because that's where all of the excess fat and calories are going to come in, and you're not going to get your bang for your buck. But if you go with grilled or possibly sauteed, but grilled is your best, or roasted, look for those keywords like that, because anything that's grilled or roasted is going to be less fat. And fat, we all know, it's just, Jeannie can speak to this, those are just calories, just calorie dense. And so if we can avoid extra fats, like just butter on your bun, little things like that. So, but don't be afraid to ask them, can I have the sauce on the side? That's a good one too. Then you dictate how much sauce you want on it. Maybe you don't want the whole thing covered. Maybe you want that salad, but like sometimes it's too much dressing. So sauce on the side, ask them to leave the oil or butter off and stick to like a white meat that's broiled or grilled, or a seafood that's broiled or grilled versus fried or sauteed. Those are my, and you can eat anywhere like that.
Yeah, I'll tack on two things. And I don't mean this to sound offensive. My brother's a chef, Steph's my friend, but restaurants are a service industry. You are there to pay for the food and to pay for the service and the experience. So ask for what you need. Don't be afraid to say like, hey, can you leave that off? Like, it's easy to leave off. And if they don't, you can play with your food a little bit, and that's the other tip. Look for items that are described that they'll be a little separated. Like, you don't want to get lasagna, like you can't really like pick out the good parts. But if you got roasted salmon and quinoa and green beans, like that's easy to eat most of the salmon, have some green beans, have a bite of quinoa. Like,
Grady and I went to a new restaurant in Gig Harbor the other night, and I didn't order this, but the next time we go back, I will order it. I noticed on their menu, it wasn't a big menu, but half of their entrees were vegetables. Like, that was the main dish. And they had a brown buttered cauliflower steak. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God. I mean, like, my mouth is watering now just thinking about it. Granted, the butter and the cheese that's on it, probably not the best, but those types of things I think are appearing on more and more menus. And if you enjoy vegetables, or if you want to get a little bit curious, that could be a really interesting way to really have fun, when you're eating out, trying something new, and experiment. And I know vegan and vegetarian lifestyles, plant-based lifestyles are very popular now. They're growing, and more restaurants are really kind of catering towards that. So that can also be something that you look into when you're dining out. Yeah, I hope that helped, Lindsay. Before we move on, this is something that you recommended, right? Follow people online that are really aligned to your, to your bariatric goals. So I just picked my top 3, but in the chat, you guys either unmute yourself or just unmute and tell us, or put it in the chat, and let's compile a list of kind of our favorite foodies that we enjoy following that are aligned to our journeys. Yeah, so you guys know Terry Turner is one of my favorite humans on the planet. Her cookbook basically travels with me everywhere that I go, that there's a kitchen. Her meals are very protein forward, whole food. I just found this woman, Diane Morrissey. She like blew up out of nowhere. Her recipes are phenomenal. They're very simple but delicious. And I think a lot of them you could make some swaps to make them very bariatric friendly. And then you guys, of course, know Kristen Willer, right? Bariatric.meal.prep. She's amazing. Oh, Ash, great ones. Yep, Skinny Taste, Lane Clark. Rachel's Healthy Plate. Oh yeah, good ones. Oh, what's that one, Jeannie?
Oh my gosh. So it's not necessarily bariatric friendly, but what I love about this space, the kitchen for bariatrics, is they do like a week of high protein meals for one. Like you can just like put that in the search and it'll show you like the shopping list, the prep list. And now you just have to put it through your bariatric filter of like, okay, I'm not going to eat all of that and adjust this. But it's great for like, you just want a little inspiration, or you just need to like, what to cook to have leftovers. I love it. Another one I was going to say, as you were talking about Weight Watchers, diabetes.org, even if you're not diabetics, if you go there, and I think it's under their lifestyle tab and then nutrition, they have all kinds of recipes. And what's nice about it is it will tell you the macros and the carbs. So you can kind of figure like how much of the starch you want to avoid or include.
Oh, that's rad. I did not know that.
That's
Can
how
I
I
say
lost.
something really quick?
Huh?
Yeah.
I had a patient today who follows a kidney diet and like a kidney diabetic diet. And she had this whole binder full of recipes from this website called Davita. It's- Yeah, have you guys heard of it? And
Yeah.
there were so many recipes, all the breakdown of like the carbs, all the nutrition. It was really cool. It was impressive for a cookbook.
Oh, I have not heard of that, but yeah, is it like Davita? Isn't Davita like is it? Yep, right. That's a really good resource.
So they'll be high protein, because when you're on dialysis, you got to have a lot of protein.
Oh,
That's how I lost so much weight prior to surgery. It was through a diabetic program that my hospital offered. Because I was pre-diabetic
yeah.
at the time. So I qualified for it. And I lost 87 pounds pre-surgery. And it was following a diabetic program.
Wow, that is crazy, Maureen. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And can I add something quickly too? My next, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but my next Meal Prep Monday class is going to be plant-based. So if you're thinking about trying to, introduce yourself into some plant-based recipes, because I'm heavy into that because of my husband, but also, who's not budget conscious? And we've all seen the price of chicken and beef and everything else. And so a lot of people are getting more and more into plant-based. I see it's becoming more of a thing, and meatless Mondays and that kind of thing. So yeah, my next Meal Prep Monday, I want to say it's in like 2 weeks. But anyway, check that out if you're interested in seeing some plant-based recipes.
Thank you. That's perfect, Stephanie. Yeah, and I don't know. Raquinta, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I follow her too, and she's awesome. I was going to put her on the list and then I could not find her. I'll make sure I add her. Yeah, Healthy Girl Kitchen. She's the one that does a bunch of salads, right? Like salads that'll change your life.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, she's awesome. Awesome. All right, you guys. We have a few minutes left. Let's shift gears to mindset. Before we do that though, in the chat, take a moment and reflect. What was something that you heard in the first part of our time together that really got your brain going? What's something you're going to try? What's something you learned? What was an aha moment? Either unmute yourself or write it in the chat. Oh yeah, the 3 choices, right? Pass, enjoy, alternative. Yep. Pass, enjoy, swap. There's got to be an acronym we can come up with there. Yeah, the BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes. Get you every time. Yep, take time to read the labels. Yep, that's so true, Robin. You only have to read it once and then you know. Yeah, Maureen.
The first trip to the grocery store that takes forever, then you.
Right.
Well, and especially once you find a product you love, right? You're like, oh.
And you can also do that laying in bed right from your phone. That's when I do my research, because I'm just like, I want to chill, I want to be in bed, but let me do some research. So I'll start looking up different things. You can read labels right from there. I'll tell you, if you go, all else fails, go to Target's website. They have a box under their items where you click nutrition label and it pulls the nutrition up for you.
They're the best. Yeah.
We are the best. Oh, Lindsay, welcome. Sorry, I'm reading Lindsay's comment.
Yeah.
We're
I was like, going to a, like, if you went to, I can't think of a brand right now. If you went to the brand's website, it is so frustrating to find a label. Like at work all the time, I'm like, let's look it up. Never mind. Let's go to Target. And then there it is.
Crazy, but yeah.
Target for the win, always.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Well, and just know all of, so this will be recorded, and that resources, I put it again in the chat, that resource is available to you. If you ever need a copy of that again, just you can email me. My email is april@BariNation.com. You can send us a DM on Instagram. We are at Bari.nation. Don't go to the one without the dot. We're in works to acquire the one without the dot, but we're not there yet. Right, just, or you can reach out directly to Stephanie or Jeannie. We will make sure that we get you that information. All right, so let's switch gears here a little bit. I want us to pause and think. What is something we have been telling ourselves recently that is not helping along our bariatric journey? What's that thought, that question, that thing that we are telling ourselves that is keeping us stuck, or that is negative or not helpful?
Mm.
Ooh, Michelle. That's a good one. Very common. Right? Oh, comparing ourselves to others. Yes, Renee. I have one pretty constantly that's like, you're never going to figure this out. You're just doing the same things you used to do. Oh, Mary. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, faith and fat, Jeannie. Yes. Yeah, it is a very crazy thing. See the progress. Oh yeah, telling myself I can't eat certain foods. Yeah, Cheryl, totally get that. Yeah, the food mourning. Yeah, the grief is real. The grief is real. So today we want to offer you kind of two strategies. Well, really three strategies. Jeannie's going to kind of walk us through some shifts that we can make. And then I want to introduce you to two other strategies that we can use right now, today, tonight, tomorrow, this summer, to help us shift that mindset, either when it comes to food or when it comes to anything that we are encountering along our journey that's really keeping us stuck. All right, Jeannie.
Okay. So I wanted these to come across one at a time and could not figure out how. And so I worked at Kaiser for a long time with the bariatric program there, and we would do, everything was classes. And so these are some of the things I would hear in those classes is like, is it true that I can't have ever again? Or I shouldn't do that, or I thought I couldn't do that, or that's not allowed, or isn't that too much? Don't I still weigh too much? Have I not lost enough weight? And I don't know if you can see it, but can you see a trend in all those words? Like it's the negative tilt, like I can't, should not, too much, not enough. Like even if we take away like the bariatric filter in this, like that's not helpful in a lot of parts of life. Like to say you can't means you won't. So how can you flip these when especially like some of the comments about early post-op or looking at surgery and being worried about what you might not ever be able to have? This is what I would tell people all the time is it's not a matter of like, you can't ever, it's kind of could versus should. So could you have a bucket of M&Ms? Yeah. Should you? No. So I like to switch this from I can't have to like I choose. So as we were talking about the different summer events, like you might choose to have the s'more or the hot dog or the ice cream or the potato salad, or you might go into that event and be like, I choose to try this new green salad, or I choose to eat the grilled chicken this year. So take out that negative, I just can't have it. And I also think this is true for anybody that's on a diet and you come to the house, the party, the whatever, and you're like, oh, I can't have that. Oh, I can't have that. Like, that's just, it doesn't feel good inside for you. And it probably doesn't make the other person feel great to hear you say like, oh, they can't have it. But if you're just like, oh, I'm not eating that, or I'm going to choose this, it's nothing negative and it's not making you feel bad or another person feel bad. So I shouldn't, I could. And then, okay, I really like this one because I find this black and white thinking happens in so much after surgery. And so many of my clients, we spend a lot of time like undoing that and getting into the gray. So, and I think this happens because, sorry, I moved all of you and I can't see you very well. Okay, hold on. I think this black and white happens because at first you're like, okay, here's your list of foods to eat. Here's your list of foods to avoid. Make sure you're doing protein. Don't do this. And so when you fast forward and now you're a year out from surgery or 2 years, you're like, oh, but I can't have that, but it's so wrong. And it's, I have to eat these things. And it makes it hard to build the balance of that bariatric plate that we talked about a while back. So know that the gray is okay. Sometimes you will eat the thing and sometimes you will not. And that is okay. Sometimes you will be on track and that is great. Sometimes you'll be off track and that's okay. Like there can be some gray. The too much. When I wrote this, I was thinking about, somebody else said this earlier about the weight comparison. Like I weigh too much, or I haven't lost enough weight, or did I just eat too much, or I didn't exercise enough, or all that kind of stuff. If you could think about what is just right for me. So maybe Stephanie can eat 10 chicken nuggets and maybe April can only eat 8 chicken nuggets. Does Stephanie listen to her body and like, hey, that's right for me and what I need right now? And April listened to her body and was like, that's what I need and that's what I chose right now. Both good, both fine. Like, so thinking about like, what do I want to choose in this situation, in this summer, in this season that is right for me and my goals, instead of like, oh, I didn't lose as much as she did, or she has this on her plate and I have this on my plate. Like, take care of you, you know? So those are just a few of the like things that I've heard and how I feel like you could swap them when it comes to evaluating what you're eating, what you can and can't eat, and your weight loss, your experience after surgery. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
scroll through.
Yeah, Robin in the chat said this is so spot on, right? I found that if I tell someone I can't have that, right, they tend to like want an explanation, or we feel like we need to offer an explanation. But if we just say I'm choosing not to eat that, that's not an invitation for a conversation. That's just you kind of making a statement and it ends there.
And you can always choose to defer too. Like you don't have to do, you can say, maybe I'll grab some later. I'm not feeling like it right now. I got enough of this or that. I don't, maybe I'll come back to it, or give me a little bit. We'll try it again. Like that way it kind of takes the tension off the moment and you can kind of motivate on, and then you don't have to circle back to it. You can just kind of keep it moving and then they'll forget, you'll forget, it won't be a thing.
And I think it's better for you because it doesn't feel good to say I can't have. But if you're like, oh, I decided to have this, or I'm gonna have like the I can't and the like, that's not on you. You know, you're not feeling like you're punishing yourself in this situation. You're just choosing something else.
Yep. I've
Mhm.
often found too that if I've made a decision about what I'm going to eat and I'm worried about sticking to it, I will tell myself and I'll tell others, I'm so excited to try this, right? Whatever that is, whatever I've chosen I'm going to eat, I'm so excited to try that. That puts myself in a better mindset and mind frame about the decision that I've made. It also helps me not back away from my decision, right? And go to something else. But it also kind of helps because people are like, oh, really? Like, I never thought about trying that. They're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm like, it's going to have, I've never had this before or this spice, or I'm really excited to see what this texture is all about. Right. It's a way to kind of hype everybody up and invite them into your decision instead of having them like poke through your decision, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, the mindset that these swaps, and really, Jeannie, what you're highlighting is actually one of the things that we're going to talk about today. The mindset technique that we're really talking about here is just we're switching the verb. We're changing one word in what we're saying to ourselves, and that can be a very powerful shift. It's right, quick and easy. So it's not I can't have, it's I can have M&Ms. I'm choosing to have this instead. Instead of saying I can't, you change it to I can, right? I shouldn't, I will, or I am excited to, right? So it's just that one little word that we can change that makes all the difference in the world when it comes to our
Or
mindset.
just, I'm not. You don't have to put the I should not. You can just be like, not.
Yes, right? Exactly.
Should. Don't shit on yourself.
Right? Exactly. Don't shit on yourself. I'll skip. Oop, I went too far. I'll skip to this one, right? This is one of the tips that we've shared out to the community, and we really wanted to kind of deep dive into this a little bit with you guys, right? We can dump the verb. So we can change that one word to just make it a completely different statement and one that's more true, a statement that's more true, right? So when we say to ourselves like, well, I think I'm back on track, right? That's questioning, that's defeating to yourself. If you have done one thing that is aligned to your bariatric goals, like as Jason always says, right? We're one decision away from compliance. You are on track. It's not, I think I'm on track. I am on track. Very different feeling, very different meaning, and more truthful. Right? So if we look at this example that's on the screen, right? I will never figure this out becomes I can figure this out. I just need to learn how to, right? Or I don't, instead of just saying, I'll never figure this out, we can say, okay, I don't have it figured out now, but I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to figure it out.
And you also have to make sure that you're keeping you're going easy on yourself enough to realize that we're trying to do things that a lot of us have never done before. So while we may all have the same goal in mind, our maps are going to look extremely different because we're all trying to navigate new territory for ourselves. So taking that little bit of extra time to give yourself the space and the grace to realize that you're not going to be a professional just because you got your stomach cut out and you should just have smooth sailing from here to the end of time and never have a slip up is not feasible. So giving yourself a little bit of leeway to go, oh, well, I tried that didn't work, instead of just, throwing it all out and going, oh, well, like we've always have in the past, once you miss a day on a diet, this isn't like that. This is creating new pathways for the rest of your new life that we have. And so you've got to go easy on yourself while you're making these choices, changes, and creating that new path.
Yes, right?
Mhm.
The old way of thinking is going to feel more comfortable at first because we're used to thinking that way. And it's hard to stop yourself in the moment and go like, oh, why am I thinking this? This is not true, right? And do the work to flip it. But if you get to the point where you realize this just doesn't feel good anymore, or something feels off, it's because you're ready to make that switch. You're ready to make that swap to a different mindset because you understand that old mindset is no longer serving you. And while you know it's going to be work to change it, you also know that you don't want to go back to that old way of thinking. right? So if you guys, if we can just all identify one thing that we're saying to ourselves often, and then figure out how we're going to dump the verb or how we're going to switch or swap the verb. We can practice that starting right now. As soon as, like right in this moment, we can practice it tonight, tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, until pretty soon that statement becomes the truth. And it becomes what we say to ourselves more often than not. Yeah, Heather, that's a perfect example, right? I am enough in all. Yep, exactly. Right. Instead of I'm not enough, I am enough. That's exactly what we're talking about here. The other thing that we really want to encourage when it comes to our mindset this summer is that, and we talked about this too on the live, I think we were on last night. We talked about it a lot this summer. You can take the whole day to accomplish your goal, right? To do what you want to do. If you get to the end of the day and you realize, oh my God, I haven't taken my vitamin, you can go take it. There's nothing that says, right, that like vitamins are only taken in the morning or I can only take it at noon. That's just simply not the case. We have our entire day to reach our goals. So if journaling, let's say, was something that we really wanted to do, and in our brain and our mind, we're like, well, I'm going to journal in the morning. And then that morning it didn't happen. It doesn't mean that you get a pass or that you can't reach that goal for that day. Journal at your lunch break. Journal right before you go to bed. Journal when you're doing whatever, right? Like we have the whole day to get these things done. And if we box ourselves into a time corner, then we're just going to be met with frustration as we go. But when we step back and realize I have the entire day to accomplish these things that I want to get done, and just because it didn't happen the moment that I thought it would happen, doesn't mean that it can't happen. Right? Yeah, exactly, Casey. That was a perfect example last night. Right? I mean, how many of us have found that we box ourselves in by time? Like, oh, I need to do this at this time. And if it doesn't happen at that time, then we're like, well, guess I'm never going to get it done. Probably all done it.
Yeah, because life's not going to stop happening. So we know that even though we've planned out our day, everyone who's had a job knows you can have your whole day planned, but you go to work and there's a whole different plan waiting for you when you get there. Or maybe during the middle of the day, something happens and it could derail everything. So you've got to be willing and able to adjust on the fly and know, because as we all know, our entire post-op existence revolves around changes. So you got to be able to be ready and adapt and stay on your toes, because anything that happens during the day, you got to be able to shift, alter your plan and keep it moving, because like you said, there's going to be the rest of the day you can get these things planned in. It may not be when you want it, may not be by noon, it may not be by 7:30 at night, but you still have until bedtime to get it all finished. So just be able to maneuver and keep it moving.
Right. Well, think about one thing that you wanted to get done today, but you haven't quite done it yet. Can you do it tonight? Can you do it as soon as we get off this Zoom?
Or maybe even part of it. If you're going to walk 30 minutes and you got 10, you get 10. Some's better than none.
Yes.
It's a step in the right direction. Pun completely intended.
I like it. I see what you did there.
I can be corny too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, Heather. Yes, and Maureen, exactly, right? Like it's just these little, and these are very little things, right? Little tweaks that we make along the way. But right, from all the books that we've read, all the podcasts that we've listened to, right? It's those little incremental changes that add up to huge results, right? James Clear, 1% better every day. The slight edge, it's the little mundane things that get us to where we want to go. They add up, they truly do. And when we look at the minute, it doesn't seem like it's adding up, but when we take a step back, holy crap.
I mean, think about it in the opposite direction. Like, that'll show you the power of one little step and how it can add up.
Yes, right, exactly. So we want to leave you with, right, just to think about, right, really what can change if we just change our mind, right? And the answer is everything. Absolutely everything can change with these little swaps, with these little mindset changes and tweaks. We can really make some pretty monumental changes in our lives that add up to big things. And the even cooler thing about all of this is that we are all a part of a community that is in it to win it with you, right? So if you're struggling, a simple story on Instagram, a direct message, right? A comment on a message board, right? That sharing of either what you're struggling with or the aha, oh my gosh, you guys, I tried this and it worked. That's how, right? That's how the ripples start moving through the community. That's how this change happens. That's how we help each other, and we learn these little pieces of everybody's recipe that we can incorporate into our own, that really make it worth it. All right, my friends, we've got some recommended resources for you. If you would like to follow Jeannie or Steph, myself, Jason, or Natalie, or BariNation, that's where you can do so. But I'd love to know, you guys, are you all leaving here with what you were hoping to leave with tonight? Is there an aha moment? Is there a breakthrough? Is there a, oh my gosh, that was so helpful?
I'm going to say I'm leaving with far more, far more, because this was just the whole conversation, everything, you know, I mean, I'm at a place where all of this is good for me because I feel a little stuck, and I'm still doing everything and doing all the work, but I still feel a little stuck. And I'm sure there are tons of other people out there that are like that all through our journeys. So this is just perfect timing for me.
Check that out. Well, isn't it amazing when we just say, I need something, the universe provides. But you guys, you all did the work of weight loss surgery today. You clicked a Zoom link. That's scary. You clicked a Zoom link with people that you don't know. You were brave enough to say, I'm going to give this a try. Or if you've been to these a million times, you still click the Zoom link. You still took time out of your day to come and do this work. You carved out dedicated time for you to do the work of weight loss surgery. That's amazing.
Yeah, in this community, like a lot of people are, you know, in the chat are saying, like it's an amazing community for the simple fact that everybody wants to see everybody win. So if you're having issues, doesn't matter what it is, you can reach out to legitimately anyone and they will be there for you to reach out. So keeping your support system close at hand and using them when needed is going to be the most beneficial tool you can have pre-op, post-op. I don't care if you're 10 years post-op, doesn't matter. The community itself is really the backbone of what gets most everybody through, because you'll see the people who disappear or take breaks from the community. They usually come back with some kind of regain story or some kind of bad headspace story or some kind of something, just simply because they moved away from the community. Like that's exactly how that works. So that, like Laura says, you know, community is treatment. And that's what we're all here for. So you can reach out to any one of us and we've got you anytime.
Yep. We 1000% believe that the missing piece to bariatric medicine and to bariatric support before and after surgery is community. That is the missing piece. That's why you've got so many experts that are in BariNation. That's why you have people that are joining. That's why our podcast, that's why all the things that are out there for the bariatric community are so heavily utilized, because they are so necessary and so needed. But what it takes is a very brave community that's willing to say, I need some help. I've had bariatric surgery. It takes a lot of bravery to just make an Instagram account. Even if you don't post a single thing, even if you don't post a picture, even if you don't do anything, it takes a lot of bravery to do that. So this community is just a bunch of badass, brave people who are willing to do the work. Yeah, the chat, you guys, yes. Yep, right. We doing this. We doing this. Yes. All right, my friends. Well, if you like this kind of support, this is actually what BariNation, the membership community, is. So the VBM we do once a month for the community. This happens about 100 times a month within the BariNation membership community. So if you enjoy learning and connecting this way, I highly recommend that you check out a membership. There are support groups that are led by bariatric therapists in very targeted support areas like regain, addiction, building healthy habits. Jeannie and Steph both lead classes and supports. We have all kinds of experts that lead that. Maureen is one of our amazing moderators, right? We've got tons of peer-to-peer opportunities where it's just patients connecting with other patients to talk about their experience. So if you enjoy learning this way, absolutely check out BariNation. We give you 14 days to see if the support is right for you. And if you try it and it's not right for you, let us know so we can connect you with other things that we know are in the community. It is our goal to make sure that you have the support and the resources that you need to find success. That's our mission. And we are here to help you find that. Period. So reach out. We're all humans behind all of these accounts. So don't worry. If you DM us, it's either Jason, Natalie, myself. If you do it, DM Steph, it's Steph. If you DM Jeannie, it's Jeannie. Another reason that, yes, this community is amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming. This will be published on our YouTube channel. And again, if you want the handout or if you want the slide deck, I'm happy to send that to you as well. All you need to do is just direct message or email. You guys have my email. And if you guys would like to join us for the next VBM, the registration is already open, you guys. It is Wednesday, August 17th. It's going to be at 5:30 p.m. The topic is finding stillness. So it's how we can calm our minds, shift negative self-talk, and answer our own questions. We know the answers to what we're asking ourselves. We just need some help and practice learning how to be still. And Rodolfo is going to help us do that. It's going to be a wonderful VBM. I don't know if the link is in the bio now that I'm thinking about that. I will make sure that the link gets in our Instagram bio. You can also direct message us or email us. I'll send you the link to register there. It's also, if you're a member of BariNation, it's already in the calendar. You can register there. But it would be wonderful to spend more time with you guys in August. Anything else for the good of the order? Jeannie, Steph, Jason?
20,000 points to everybody.
No, I just wanted to tell everybody, thank you guys for coming. Jeannie, Steph, you guys are amazing as always. And we thank you for always lending your support, your time, and your knowledge to us. We thank you. We're eternally grateful to you both because you guys are always here whatever we ask you to be and always provide the best information. So, and to everybody who came and joined and continue to support us in all the ways that you do, we appreciate you to the end of the earth. I say it all the time. I know I sound like a broken record, but we would not be able to do what we do without you guys' support. So all the support we've given to you, you give back to us tenfold, and we appreciate you always and forever. So
Couldn't have said it better myself, right? And as Jason always says, right, you've got this and we've got you.
That's it.
Yeah, I know, Marie.
That's it.
That's it. All right, my friends, I can hang out for a few more minutes if you'd like to just chat. Thank you again so very much for coming. We very much appreciate you. Have a wonderful week. Let's do this.
yes, absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you.